welcome to a new edition of Our Money Means Business. As we always say, in business means money. Stability in business means a lot of money, but under circumstances like what the world is passing through, the COVID-19 that is affecting the economies of the world, there is a lot to say. As we're back again, we have our guests who are going to expand on a lot of issues, actually economic issues, especially if we talk about development and of course the foreign direct investments, what's going on in that. This is what we're going to find out from our project, from our guest, Mr. Hany Abou el Fotouh, a financial expert. Welcome, sir, with us here.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you. We're going for a short break, after which we'll be back. Welcome back again to My Name is Business with our guest, Mr. Hany Abou el Fotouh, financial expert. Thank you again, sir, for being with us. It's always a pleasure having you.
Pleasure.
Well, one of the actually one and more, not more than one, in the big list and the long list of mega projects, and this is the fisheries project, the fisheries farm project, and this one is a mega project and one and the biggest in the Middle East. How do you see that?
Well, as you said, it's one of its kind, the largest in the Middle East, and it was founded on 15,000 feddans. I see that this project and other projects which provide food security for the citizens are very important, particularly in these days when the prices of foods and other food stuff are high. So it's part of the government's agenda is to provide commodities and food at affordable prices.
Yes.
This particular project, the fishing farm, is important because I think it is the second next to Ghalioun fishing farm, which was inaugurated last year in Kafr Sheikh. And I personally noticed that the prices of fish in the local markets are reasonable. We cannot say they are very cheap, but yeah, they are affordable, that most households can afford to buy this type of food. I hope that the other fishing farming projects continue in the near future. This is not the only one, it's the second, and there are several in the pipelines.
Definitely. Also the granite projects and all these projects taking place, what about now, say, job opportunities? Do they offer job opportunities in the Egyptian market?
As mentioned in the report, it was reported that this project will create nearly 10,000 jobs, direct and indirect jobs.
Yes.
That is very badly needed, particularly with the repercussions of the coronavirus, which caused the unemployment rate to increase in the last year. Now the unemployment rate is 7.2%, and we need to maintain this level and even make it lower in the present and in the near future. So these projects are much needed, and they provide great jobs for many people.
Yes. Well, as the economies of the world are reeling under the effects of the COVID-19, of course, all economies are suffering from that, and definitely the growth rate of the Egyptian economy could have been better than that, despite the vouching of the monetary institutions that it's doing really well. But now, you know, the foreign direct investment is very important. Before talking about that, the economic reform program, how do you see its effect on the investment climate in Egypt? How is the investment climate and the economic reform program, how is it affecting the investment climate?
The economic reform program, which started in year 2016, resulted in great improvement in the macroeconomic indicators, and the macroeconomic indicators are very important in the decision making for foreign investors. So the reform program, one of the outcome of the reform program is creating a free exchange market,
yeah,
which was a major problem before before launching the economic reform program. Now the foreign currency is freely tradable, and the scarcity of foreign currency is something of the past. Also, the economic program, along with other improvements in the investment climate, provided enhanced legal and legislative infrastructure in the country. And since maybe year 2017, more than 300 laws were introduced in the country. For example, the new investment law is a great achievement because it provides incentives for local and foreign investors. So the investment climate is benefiting from the reform program in many ways, and you see that the number of companies last year the new companies established last year was slightly improved as opposed to the year before. This is an indicator that even local investors are benefiting, and the investment appetite is maintained.
Well, how do you see transferring the investment file directly to the Prime Minister, or under his sponsorship, or under his directives? How do you see that?
Well, I think this is a very good move, because the investment file is a collective work of many ministers and ministers. So when this investment file is under the control of the Prime Minister, it can be very well managed because of the close coordination between the different ministers which are involved in facilitating different problems in the investment field and improving the investment climate. So I think it is one good achievement, and I hope that we see no more bureaucracy, no more blocking of initiatives or investment initiatives in the way.
Well, we talked about the one-stop shop last time, with the one window. Well, this move, as you said, like when we say the land, they say, for example, go to this ministry or something else, another ministry. When we talk about investment, investor comes here and he finds some stumbling blocks. But then now, with the transferring the file of investment to the Prime Minister directly, does it really deal with that? And we say, well, that is one stumbling block that is going to be removed.
I believe that the different government agencies, when they are hosted under one roof and under one control, this is a very helpful achievement, and it paves the way for smoothing the problems of investors, whether local or foreign investors.
Well, the foreign direct investment, or FDI, is very important, definitely. How do you see the challenges facing the FDI in Egypt here? What challenges does it face? Do they face it? And what can be done in order to, well, solve the problems that face the foreign direct investment?
Allow me to explain what is the foreign direct investment.
Definitely.
Foreign direct
Please.
investment, in very simple words, are the investments made by companies or individuals for acquiring or establishing new business interests in a country. They bring capital, they bring management and technology as well. So the incentives for foreign maybe the question could be
the incentives to attract.
What does the investor need in order to inject money?
Definitely.
The investor requires stable legal infrastructures and the stable monetary and monetary policies. They require exchange market that provides the foreign currency flow inward and outward. Investors require proper infrastructure in the country. They require energy sources of affordable sources for energy. All these are incentives for the investors. So the challenge is to provide what the investors expect and aspires before injecting money into the country. So currency, look, free flow of currency inward and outward. Strong banking system as well. If we don't have a strong banking system, this could be a major disadvantage, which discourages foreign investment in Egypt. So we need to tackle, the government need to ensure that all these requirements are available, are in place. In addition to some tax incentives, in addition to encouraging the investors to come to invest to Egypt, avoiding the bureaucracies which were a big hurdle in the past.
Well, one question comes, with investment, do we require certain areas in which we need more investment than other areas that we are specifying that, or asking for foreign direct investment in these areas more than others?
Generally speaking, Egypt is a very attractive place for foreign investment. Particularly, Egypt is attractive in the field of oil and gas, telecommunications, tourism, financial services. These areas are very attractive and continue to be attractive for the next 2 or 3 decades. Maybe some areas like the mining is another area which I think Egypt still need to promote to foreign investors.
Okay. Well, you said that, we have to present certain things to be luring foreign direct investment into Egypt, a strong banking system, and so on and so forth. What are we presenting right now after all the reforms taking place and after passing the very hard period of economic and political turmoil at time now, like there is stability, there is security, there is a lot that should be conveyed to the investor in order to know that this is a country in which it's secure.
On top of all, I repeat the words you are saying: security, political and economical stability and security. These are very critical and crucial to any foreign investor before thinking of injecting money into a country. These elements or factors are thoroughly examined, because there is no, even if you have all other things available, but the country is not stable, is not secure, the laws and regulation changes quite often. This is important.
They wouldn't inject money unless they know that they can
political stability and security,
definitely,
which Egypt has achieved a lot in the last 6-7 years.
Yeah. So what are we presenting right now? There is infrastructure for that, a lot of work that has been done, to lure, the foreign direct investment. Of course, there are situations like the situation where everybody is in right now, reeling under the effects of the COVID-19, affecting all economies, in different perspectives, of course, and different areas. Some are more affected than others. We are really fighting that and working very hard on improving the economy and not falling under, like other countries, that some countries have declared they could not really go on, and they just succumb to this. But we are really fighting very hard. We're working very hard. Mega projects are being implemented, and now what do we need to do more in order to, or how do we convey all the work done in order, since we are luring or just attracting investors, but how should we tell them that we've got all that, we've got security, we've got stability?
We continue to showcase that super infrastructure projects which Egypt has been maintaining, and like the electric train, which the plans for the electric trains, the plans for new roads and bridges. These are strong messages to foreign investors, despite that the world has stopped or put major projects on hold. Egypt is progressing its infrastructure, which is a big one of the major incentives for foreign investors to come. Also, we are providing ongoing enhancement in the legal and legislative infrastructure in the country.
Yeah.
And this is another crucial area for foreign investors and even local investors. So all these things are being dealt with tactfully, and we are doing progress, and this is an ongoing progress. It will not stop.
Definitely. Well, also, one thing, it's like, since we are in Africa and we're back to Africa again, well, other countries have been really taking advantage of Africa and the wealth of Africa from the different African countries. How can we do that? Well, we're integrating, we are just, how can we, in these hard times, make the best out of it and exchange, well, help to each other and benefit from each other?
In Africa, Egypt is taking the lead in many areas. Speaking about Africa, Egypt is, as stated in the World Bank report, Egypt is a bright spot for the direct investment in Africa, because Egypt, the FDI rose by 11% in the previous year. We can benefit from the strong relationship with other African countries by integrating the interests and exchanging expertise and using the capabilities of the Egyptian workforce and intellectuals in exchanging expertise and other ideas and thoughts with other African countries.
Definitely. Well, week after week, with their developments, there are changes, there are mega projects that are being inaugurated and so on. Since last time you were here and we talked about different things, how do you see development in our economy from that time, or just like overall, with what the world is passing through again and what Egypt is passing through, like the whole world, but still, we're really fighting hard, struggling and working hard in order to, grow, growth. Just get away from the big, let's say, problems that are created, well, economic, social, and everything created by the situation of the COVID-19, the pandemic.
Egypt, despite everything, despite the repercussions of the pandemic, is still striving to achieve its goals. And the progress in different development areas continues without stop, and it's a challenge. We are working in a challenging environment, and the challenges are internal and external. And thank goodness that the outcome of the efforts made by the Egyptian state and by the Egyptian government are materializing. Yet it is not to the maximum extent, but it is something tangible that we see every day.
Definitely. Well, we go for a short break, after which we'll be coming back to continue our talk. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. We're going for a short break, after which we'll come back. Stay tuned to us. And we're back again to Money Means Business with our guest, Mr. Hany Abou el Fotouh. And we're talking about macroeconomic indicators and how growth is and all that. But then there is always a glitch here that is destroying all that. Let's say overpopulation. So let me just ask, development is very important, and we're working hard on development. But then what are the challenges to development?
Well, I believe maybe the greatest challenge to the development which hampers the progress is the overpopulation. Egypt, the population now is 100 million, more than 100 million, and we increase by nearly 2.5 million every year. Imagine that every year 2.5 million.
That's a mega challenge.
Yeah, they need, when they, after a few years, they will need schooling, they will need education, proper education.
All services.
Food, water, infrastructure, medication. So it is, if it is not controlled, the overpopulation problem, if it is not controlled, it will act as a bomb. It would explode. It will eat up the fruits of the developments. So I think this is a very big challenge, and the government made a progress, of course, because of the increase in population. Rate is 2.5%. It used to be slightly above that, but now it is slightly in the range of 2.5%. In order to the average citizen feels the fruits of the economic reform, we need at least a growth rate 3 times the rate of the population. So we need at least 7.5 or 8%, which currently is not possible at all. Because even China.
Well, under the situation of the COVID-19 pandemic that is affecting all the economies, it's very good that, you know, like we are just working that way.
Yeah, you know, the global economic growth for this year is 4%.
Yeah.
On average. So if Egypt is achieving or expected to achieve 2.7% or 2.8%, it's actually I see it as a great achievement. While every other country, all other countries around the world, maybe they are not achieving that level, and other countries, their economies are contracting and shrinking.
Yeah. Well, if we do like China, then, you know, like curtailing, or let's say like putting, it's like after the second child, or no third child and no second child, then, you know, then you will have here just a different mentality that will just, you know, face you, and they just, you know, like ally this, you know, like with, well, this is religion, you know, for some people it's like they don't want to stop, you know, having babies because they think that this is, you know, what this
against
is like,
religion.
Yeah, you know, how can you just, you know, deal with this mentality of some people who are just, you know, especially lower echelons that are creating all the trouble and, you know, like the growth in population?
I'm sure that the government has programs.
Well, the president talked about this,
to address
definitely.
This issue, and it is not across the country, but in some governorates, maybe in Upper Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very clear that an average family would have 3 or more than 3 to 4 children.
Yeah. Or if they don't have the boy, so they just keep, you know, like having babies, still, you know, they get the boy.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they don't have a girl, so they have the boy, still they have the girl.
That exists in India, by the way. And India, they have the same cultural issue about having, you must have a boy, a family, otherwise you continue breeding, getting babies.
Exactly, exactly.
So the government is actually working on that. I'm not very familiar with these programs, but I know that there are some programs to tackle this problem.
Definitely. Well, we talked about also tourism. Now, you know, like still there, you know, like when we just, you know, send photos of the discoveries and more, you know, well, official or not official, people ask, is Egypt open For tourism, yeah, Egypt is open for tourism, and it's open also when there is, like with the regulations and with the sanitization of hotels, everywhere, of course, taking care of that, and it's open. But then, there, still, those who will come not like normal times. So the tourism is always affected by any kind of circumstances.
Very vulnerable.
Exactly. And the people working
and fragile.
there, very fragile.
Very fragile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If, Spain, like was hit very hard by that, and just see what's happening to us, and we have all these treasures. But there are, like some who come, but then not like before. So it's been affected. How? Well, with with the great expectations that we have with the inauguration of the Jam soon, hopefully. We don't know how soon with the COVID-19 danger that is scaring everybody and just affecting everybody and changing, mutating in order to affect greater numbers. But then we do have the discoveries. We have the big Jam, the Grand Egyptian Museum that is opening.
We have everything to attract tourists from all interests. But the issue, sadly, that several European countries have imposed complete curfew now.
Yes.
In Holland, Netherlands, they started yesterday, and in Europe, the other countries, they started complete curfew to in order to contain the COVID-19. This will last, nobody knows until when, but there are some expectations. At least you have curfew in Europe for the coming 2 months. By that time, the winter season in Egypt would have gone.
Exactly. So Luxor and Aswan, like the big winter season is just,
The hope is with the advances in the vaccine, Europe could think of getting their citizens the vaccine, and this might help the decision makers in these countries to loosen the controls they imposed because of the COVID-19.
And also, like talking about the different cities, the new cities that are open, developing in the North Coast with the different cities that are being prepared for having like big universities and big businesses, and really like extension, all over Egypt, New Minya, New Mansoura, new cities everywhere. How do you see that for the future? And right now, when it's working, when things open up, how would they improve to the growth of our economy and the development that we are just seeking?
The problem is that everybody is used to live in the same place with his children and grandchildren. They don't want to move to other new
places.
cities. So this
we were so centralized,
localized around the banks of the Nile River.
Yes.
So,
and that was that's it,
That's it.
Yeah.
But nobody has thought of why not moving to New Dumyat, why not moving to the other new cities opened. These cities are smart cities and smart communities. But we need some, I would say, awareness. Mindset, changing the mindset.
Do you think this can happen easily? Like
someone like me thinking, with the young generation, it can happen, but anyone over 35, 40.
Okay, so over for us.
You're not concerned.
Well, I'd love to, but I am. Sometimes I think, would I just go like some places? I'd love to live in Sharm el-Sheikh. Like it's just seems wonderful. But then
you need to bring your families, your friends.
Definitely,
because you need to bring your community with you. And this is we are unlike Europe and many other places where young people, they are very mobile. They can move very easily from one place to another place. We in Egypt here, we are stuck to the land. We are stuck with our families and friends.
True.
So moving from one place to another place, even if it is just 100 kilometers from my home, is a big sacrifice.
Definitely, yeah.
It's like a difficult journey, which
Yeah.
is impossible.
It's like
It's like the mission impossible.
Even living in a quarter, me living somewhere else. No,
even,
no, I love this.
even inside the same city, inside Cairo, okay, people living in, say, Heliopolis, they can't imagine that they would go to 6 October.
No, they do have the
It's like
communities there. That's it, you know. It's like going to
Exactly.
another country.
Al-Maadi and Zamalek and
Yeah.
other, it's the mindset.
Well, I can't really comprehend still for me, you know, I'm living, you know, I'm Cairene, so thinking that going to Sheikh Zayed or I don't know where, you know, like, or the other side, you know, like the new cities, I'm thinking, wow, you know, how can people, you know, like we are used to having the grocery shops and everything nearby, but you know that is very big there, and those who go there and stay there don't want to live again in the city, back to Cairo again. It's like this, it's so congested. No, we like to just stay there. So it's like the mindset, I think, you know, for us, you know, it's, well, maybe it can happen, but for others, you know, maybe students or, you know, some families, they are
Maybe
Cairns,
if we start to address these issues
Yeah.
to the young people, in the elementary school, changing the mindset from in the early stages,
Yeah.
this could happen in very few years.
Yeah. And even with universities, since, you know, they have universities there, it happens that if you get a job opportunity somewhere, then you go there. So you're not going out of Egypt, you're going to Alexandria. People used to, you know, some families, and they used to live in Alexandria, so they became Alexandrites, and they're just living there, and they're just offsprings, you know, like are living there. So it's like new communities, if they have, you know, with the universities and schools, then maybe, you know, the transfer of some, you know, like or university students who can go to universities there will just start their families, you know, they can find a job in these new cities, and then, you know, like it will be kind of decentralizing Cairo and Alexandria and the other main cities.
Maybe the key word here, you have just said that, the decentralizing.
Yeah.
Decentralization, because everything is located in the capital.
Yeah.
So if we start decentralizing the services, the government offices, and making everything, most of the services through the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody would go to the
We'll have
city.
to stay in Cairo or Alexandria.
Okay, I can stay even in Aswan and get the same service as if I'm living in the capital city.
Mm-hmm.
So decentralization is very important.
Actually, whenever I go to a place like Aswan, it's a dream. And then I say, no, I'd like to live here. But then I go back to Cairo, I'm stuck with my work again. And going to Taba, it's wonderful. Going to Sharm, it's beautiful. I would love to live there. But then you go back to your work. But if with younger people, they just, you know, can find the jobs there, and they can just settle. Others, you know, like, you know, youth, you know, go and settle. They open businesses in these areas. So how do you see the future? Because we have less than 2 minutes.
The future is uncertain.
Well, definitely with not the crystal, we don't have the crystal ball.
Yeah.
So you're like, but you know, like the very near future, well, with the normal expectations, without, you know, with the unknown.
I'm full of hope that with the vaccine, things will change rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
But until such moment when the first shots of the batch of the vaccine is dispensed to citizens, I keep my finger crossed and pray to God that everything goes well after getting the vaccine.
Well, hopefully. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Hany Abou el Fotouh, for being with
Pleasure.
us. It's always a pleasure having you. Thank everybody for being there. We'll see you again next week. As for now, God bless Egypt, God bless Egyptians, God bless our army, our police, our white army, our president, and as we always say, we quote from the Holy Quran, "Idkhulu Misr inshallah aminin," enter Egypt, God willing, safe. And from the Holy Bible, Mubarak, Sha'bi Misr, blessed be Egypt, my people. I'm Nermin Nazim signing off. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye for now.